So I have recently developed a shield that can take just like a lot. It can take a whole lot of stuff. That was miniguns on it, and it's barely doing like anything. Two miniguns straight to it, and it takes a long time to break. If we grab this precision cannon launcher that Crowned Koi made, we can... I'm gonna go a little bit of ways. Then going to repair this. This will show a little bit how it works, but I'll dive into that in a second. But basically, this is made out of anchor pins, and because of the way that I did it, it has a large area and a very precise... I'm gonna fire a cannon over here to start. Okay, so it goes, like, right there. Here, I'm gonna fire it to the side. We can go a little bit up. But then if I fire it directly at this... That was not a good test, because it kind of clipped through. 1 second. Sometimes projectiles do have the potential to just clip through. But here, I'd have to detach this. If I put it, like, diagonal like this, it will have the best shot of showing what the shield can do. But if I go ahead and fire this, like here, or a little bit to the side, or a little bit to the side again, then you can see it takes a little bit of damage, but honestly, compared to a tank shot directly to it, directly to the build, this is absorbing so much damage. That time it clips through, sometimes it just will. And then sometimes it will destabilize, which is like this, where basically these are all different physics entities. And what is happening is they're being pressed down and then detached into this board, meaning that we have a wall of anchor pins on the back, like on the backside of the anchor pins, and they're attached to this. What happens after that is that this detaches. The anchor pins are still stuck to the build because when you detach a block with an anchor pin stuck to it, it still sticks. So then I get this floating shield that I can use for blocking all kinds of damage. And this also works with physical impacts really well. But just for show, I did definitely want to show off the tank cannon, because the tank cannon does so much, like, more. Like, normally, if I would strike it, like we saw in the first one, because the first one was it having the off chance to clip, it would do a ton of damage, but if I hit the shield, which, if I was in the build I could be blocking better, then it damages the shield a little bit, but no damage actually ends up spreading to the rest of the build, or at least very little. And in terms of armor, as long as the arm, like, as long as it doesn't clip and as long as the arm that the shield is on doesn't, like, get taken off, this is a really good armor. I plan on using this to make an armor plate at some point on the torso, so that it's, like, where the center of mass is directly, and it doesn't have to be attached to an arm that can break off. But this can absorb a lot of damage. I have this other mech that I think is a good way to test it. If I repair correctly, so that it doesn't clip into itself. Okay. And then it's still clipped into itself. And then run over here. We can get an impact. I want to try hitting it with one of them, but not both of them. Go a little bit over here. A little bit here. And then if I hit X, it just absorbs the hit completely. Here, I'll get a little bit closer. That just turned it. Like, it hit and turned it. Whereas if I'm gonna have to repair it because this mech does like to clip into itself. Whereas if I hit the part that's not a shield, let's see how much damage that does compared to the shield hits we just did. So the shield definitely helps absorb impact, and it's really cool. Downsides of the shield: sometimes when you spawn in, it will destabilize, and this is different from single player to multiplayer. Single player, it's a lot more consistent with tuning than it is in multiplayer, but you can still get it to work in multiplayer. You just need, like, different settings on how the stuff works. You can tinker with it. I don't have an exact science to tuning it, but I've found things that have worked better than others. But if I go ahead and... You saw the last hit that completely destroyed it. If I hit it from here, that went above the shield, but the hit that actually... Like, the part when it actually hit the shield before it slid off was perfectly fine. Repair you. The stand is just to help with the stability a bit. It does help some. And this can just absorb so much damage when it comes to bullets, but especially for physical impacts, that I really want to make a mech with it that can just absorb hits. It is a lot of comp, because you need 10 from the pistons, you need an anchor pin, which I think there's like 52 of there. Because it's a 6x6, so that's 36 plus 4 times 4, so it's 36 plus 16, which is 52. Yeah, so there's 52 of them there, and that does add, like, a little bit of lag, and it does add, like, a little bit of destability, but honestly, for what it is, it's pretty good. Because if I can actually line up a hit here, that hit the backside of the shield, and it broke me instead of the shield. This isn't great for making weapons indestructible, because it does absorb all the force in a kind of, like, vibranium-like way, which is why I made it into a Captain America shield. But if I go over here and slash at it, it's even, like, my weapon broke more on that than it did. It's not broken at all. It's great at taking physical hits. Right over here. I forgot how the running just was kind of like jumping while crouched in this. And hitting it there, barely anything. If I go inspect the shield here, we've got a little bit of damage on the bottom, and one of the peak tiles is slightly turned. But otherwise, it's doing, like, fine. It's absorbed several hits from it. So, more in depth of how I did it is I had... Where is it? I have some kind of board. This is a 6x6, so I like using it for this. And then I want to... Here, I'll clear this so that I can better show how I made it. And then on this board, I had 4 of these. This doesn't matter, so I'm just gonna make a square shield for now. And then I went over to movement, scrolled down to detachable block, which is in movement. I like that it's with the other mechanical blocks, but I don't think it fits movement very well. Put those right there. Duplicate one more row. And then I have the anchor pins also in movement right along there. I'll go ahead and duplicate these twice, and then one more time. Now we have a board of anchor pins. And what I have after that is another board. I believe I had this 4 down. And then we need a piston to move them downwards. And how I'm going to do that is just put these right here, here. We only really need 2 pistons, but for the sake of showing it off and, like, making it stable, I'm gonna put 4. And then having these here. And then what should happen is this will press into the plate, detach so that all of them are in the right spot. It works better if there aren't any hard walls on the side, so I'm going to use a pipe there. Because if they're pushed against a wall, then they have, like, they're more compressed into each other, which means that they're more likely to have the weird physicsing into each other. And then from this, we want a second set of detachable blocks that go into this thing, so that once the shield is pressed down and locked in, all of this detaches. So we want all of these, all of the top ones that aren't right here, to be on not make scrap, but we want this one to be on make scrap. And we want this one to be on a delay. I'm gonna put delay of like 1.5 seconds. The delay here is also something you can do. You can like tinker with to make it better or worse. And then on here, I'm gonna put a delay of like 1 second because we need to wait for the pistons to clamp down. Now, the distance that I find best for the start position is actually 0.09 or 0.08. I think I might do 0.08 on this one. And then I'm gonna set the starting speed to 100. Negative 100 is a little bit, like, it's faster, but it's a little bit less stable. I'm gonna put the damping to 2 just to test, because I don't think I've messed with piston damping much yet. And then if I put a seat here, and a NOR block, like a NOR gate, then what happens is we can put all of these, and all of these, which I'm just gonna drag click in rows, because that is the easiest way to do that. And then all of those are selected. And then the pistons should be automatic. And then we have a sheet that we can use. I think all of these, except the pistons, were 1 too high. So I'm going to move everything except the pistons and those down 1. And then as you can see there, it has a sheet that presses down, they all attach, and then the outer layer, which I can actually configure to be a little bit later. 1.5 works, but I just want to show the sequence. It presses down, detaches, and then the rest detaches around it. And then you have a stable board of basically like indestructible, not quite indestructible, but very high durability blocks. Now, I would like to note, it is best to do this with, like, gravity helping you. You can do this to the side, and it will work, but it's going to be a lot less glitchy if the boards, like, when they detach, they aren't trying to move down with gravity. And with a design this simple that doesn't have, like, any motion or wiggling over here, it is fairly consistent, but it is decently better to use gravity as your aid, so that they don't try to reposition, and they'll reposition differently and then clip into each other, and if their start position overlaps with the start position of another one, they'll kind of do the vibrating thing that the shield does sometimes. But all you really need to do to fix that is have them upright. I bet if you're using this on a torso, it might just be fine to do this. But if you have them upright like I have the shield, and then turning, then it'll work. So going back to the Captain America, here, you can see that it goes, like, the pistons push down. Here I have extra detachable blocks here because it was just part of the original design. You don't really need those. The original design didn't have this part detach until later, but you can detach all of the piston stuff at once. In fact, it actually might be stabler to have that be blocks. I'm gonna try that real quick. Delete that, delete that. I have a 1x4. Put another one on this side, which it should auto-select because I deleted a block and it auto-selects the last block that you were attached to. And it is a little bit finicky when working on it on an arm on a mech. Sometimes fully respawning to a checkpoint will help, like it did that time, a lot. But you can use this for whatever you want. The only thing it's not great at is making weapons with it, like I said, because it absorbs the impact. And if a Captain America shield was real, it wouldn't be a good weapon because it couldn't bounce because it would absorb the impact anyway. But it is really cool to have. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you can use this tech for something, and I hope you enjoy. See ya. Oh, and if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments. This is a pretty finicky tech, and I've been developing it for like a week and a half, so it's bound to have some errors. But I'm at a place where I'm really excited about it, and this is one of the things that I'm like proudest about making in this year so far. So I did want to make an upload about it, like a video about it, and like see what y'all think and see what y'all can use it for, because it is really fun. It also means that the way that I did the anchor pins means that you can't actually stick anything to that, because they're already stuck to something. So it's a way to use anchor pins as a durability without having them stick to anything, which is also good. Anyways, see you part 2.